All right, we're going to bring us home here. I'm Tammy Moriarty. I'm from the Center to Support Excellence in Teaching here at the Stanford Graduate School of Education. And I had the opportunity to work with the first cohort of EPIC Leadership Fellows. And so I'm very, very, very excited to introduce our four EPIC leaders as they present their learning. I just want to give a little bit of background. Their projects are different than yours. So the EPIC Leaders Program really focused on how do we develop a community of community college school leaders who can work together and think about how they will practice leadership in their settings in a way that promotes and supports what you all are doing. So all of the wonderful things that you have presented here, we heard from Michelle earlier and from a few of you, that there are obstacles along the way and how to navigate that. How will our leaders help figure this out and work alongside with you? So I would like to introduce our first presenter, Debbie Lee from De Anza College.
Thank you, everyone. We'll try and keep you awake. We know we're the last of the presentations. I told my group jokingly we should probably have created a 30-second TikTok. Yeah. But, so my name's Debbie Lee. I'm the Dean of Intercultural and International Studies at De Anza College, and my project was Revitalizing Global Studies at De Anza. Okay. So let me give you a little bit of background on De Anza. It's a community college located in Cupertino, which is about 20 minutes south of here, and in the heart of Silicon Valley. The total number of students we have had in 21-22 was over 26,000 students, and 82% of those students were non-white, identify as non-white. That's important because we're talking about global studies. So the number of transfer students we had in 21-22 was almost 3,000, almost 1,000 transferred to UCs, but more than 50% transfer to ACSU. And nearby, specifically to San Jose State, which is nearby, a little over 1,000. Okay, and I'll go back to that statistic. That is an important one. Okay. So a little bit about the division itself. This is not your typical division. This is, but to borrow Amy's term, it is not a weird division. What's in this division? Well, there's ethnic studies. We have 5 separate departments. We have African American studies, Asian American studies, comparative ethnic studies, Chicano Latinx studies, and Native American Indigenous studies. We have global/international studies. We have 12 different world languages, and yes, we call them world languages, not foreign languages. That is very intentional. And we have women, gender, and sexuality studies. That is still labeled with WMST for women's studies, but it has been broadened to be more inclusive and to be more in aligned with what 4-year universities offer now. Okay, so definitely not your weird division. This is also important. I want to point out that there are 11 full-time faculty in the division, but only 4 are fully full-time in the division this year. Why? We have some people who are retired and so they're on reduced load, some people on leave, some people on special projects, and so they're serving in other positions on campus. And so that reduces the number of full-time faculty. This is really important. We have more than 25 part-time faculty in the division. It's important because that means our division is heavily reliant on part-time faculty. And for all of you faculty out there, you know that part-time faculty, it is not part of their job description to write curriculum. So they have to get paid for writing curriculum. Okay? Whereas it is part of full-time responsibility. And that's another important thing to keep in mind. So why did I choose this project to revitalize global studies? First things, I got emails from students saying, when are you going to offer this course? When are you going to offer this? So there is student interest. Number 2, there are faculty who love teaching curriculum that involves, globalized curriculum. It's like, well, we would love to have the degree too. So, but I also believe in it because we are constantly becoming more and more globalized, right? Globalized citizens, so it's important. So some background is De Anza already has an associate's degree in global studies. So we offer most of the curriculum that is needed for a transfer degree. So for those of you who are not familiar, transfer degree is different from a local associate's degree, okay? Starting in fall 2024, a new legislation, AB 928, requires students to declare a transfer degree, not just a local degree, a transfer degree if they're planning to transfer to a CSU. Okay, so if that is their goal, is to transfer, they actually have to state now, declare which transfer degree they're going to be in. And we don't have that. So, not at De Anza. But at the state level, there is a transfer model curriculum for global studies. And so this transfer model curriculum is important because if you have it at your college, first of all, it's the degrees, the transfer degrees that the state allows a college to have. And then if you have it at your college, it basically provides a pipeline for a student to transfer to a CSU, a guaranteed spot at a CSU, not necessarily the one they want, but at a CSU that offers that degree. So, guess what? Remember, we had over 1,000 students at De Anza transferring to San Jose State. Well, San Jose State has a bachelor's program for global studies. So this is why I thought, this would be a great way to revitalize it because it's a pipeline to a college nearby. So what is our project plan then? In order for us to have this transfer degree, we had all the classes except one. We needed the Intro to Global Studies course. We didn't have that. That's a core class. The other thing is that we need to write up a proposal for this transfer degree, meaning we have to use the classes that we offer at De Anza and see if it fits into the state's template. Okay. So, what are my challenges though? We have financial resources, staffing, technology, and the unexpected. Always a fun one to throw in there. And I'm looking at Michelle because I was hearing Michelle's report and going, oh my gosh, this is just like what I'm about to talk about, So, issue number one, resources. Remember, I told you there were only 4 full-time faculty this year. Well, we've got all those departments. So there is no full-time faculty overseeing global studies. That's a problem because that means I need to find part-time faculty to write the curriculum, to kind of take ownership of this, which means that I need to find money to pay them. I need to find a person who's willing to do this work. So I needed to find money to do both. Second issue is staffing. Okay, yes, I did have to find part-time faculty, but like I said, there's 4 full-time faculty, and when you have a department at De Anza, but you don't have enough faculty to have a department chair, guess who gets to be the department chair? Yay, me, right? So I get to be department chair, but then we heard Michelle talk about, but there's this little thing called 10+1. I'm an administrator. No. Don't touch that curriculum. That doesn't belong to you. Got it. So I need to make sure I can't write curriculum, which is again why I need to rely on adjunct faculty to write the curriculum. Okay. So I needed to find someone who would be a champion for the global studies program and courses. Okay. So. And again, this is always kind of a tricky issue because you might say, well, there's lots of people who are champions. Yes, there are, but I still need to follow the union guidelines on giving classes to part-time faculty. I can't just say, oh, I like you, I'm going to do this. I need to follow the rules, right? So issue number 3, technology. I don't know how many of you know this, eLumen. It was kind of the bane of existence for at De Anza because It was supposed to have been implemented and launched back in October, but it didn't happen until March, which is just 2 months ago. Well, and all of you faculty know out there that there's this little thing called 5-year course revisions that you have to do. If you don't do them, you can't offer the course for the following year or 2 years. So the college said, you know what, this just went up in March. The first thing we have to do is those 5-year course revisions, because otherwise we can't offer those classes. So those became the priority. Any new course or programs took a back seat. Sound familiar, Michelle? Right? So that's what happened. That's another challenge. And then always the unexpected. Our articulation officers calls me and says, hey Debbie, you know that course, that core course called Global Perspectives? I don't know if you know this, but that's in limbo land in CID. It hasn't really been approved yet. So it's just in the queue. I think we should resubmit it because we're not sure if it's going to meet, the CSU articulation agreements. So guess what? That means I need to find someone to revise the course for the course that I thought we had ready. Whoops. Okay, so that's the unexpected, right? So how did we overcome these challenges? Be very creative. First one is I have little discretionary income, not income, but funds, and I could hire part-time faculty to write and revise curriculum for that, thankfully. And then we did have one of the world languages. We had a little bit of grant funding, and so we used that money to hire part-time faculty to put together a proposal for the degree. And we were able to do that because the language faculty had been wanting to be a part of the degree. They weren't in any other degree, and so they got put into the Global Studies degree. So they were really happy, actually, to take part of this because finally their classes could be recognized in a transfer degree. Overcoming staffing challenges. This is just kind of tricky. I had to find enough classes for every single adjunct who wanted classes before I could hire a new person who could champion global studies. And so that took a little bit of finagling, but I won't say it's a magic wand, but somehow we just have to make those things work. And for those of you that don't know, I used to teach math, and I kind of see matrices in my head. Gives a new name to like blockhead, because I think of things in blocks. And so that's kind of what I did was like, oh, if I could put this person here, and then put this person here, and I would just say, again, not a magic wand, but just kind of the way my brain works. So that was able to happen. And then just the unexpected changes. Technology really was out of my hands. I mean, eLumen, I wish I had the wand to say, but didn't. But luckily, the curriculum committee basically said, you know what? We agree with you. This is really important for you to have. And that's the connection with the articulation officer. Thankfully, one of my faculty, full-time faculty, is on the college's curriculum committee. And they basically said, yeah, we should move forward with a new course and a new degree. So that was a little bit of, I think, luck there. And then the same part-time instructor who wrote the new course was able to revise the other course, agreed to do that for us as well. So by the way, the part-time instructor who did this also was just super grateful because this person went through the EPIC program as well, and actually got I wrote this person a recommendation letter, and the person got a grant from UW to and so it was just this nice symbiotic relationship. So, so that was really helpful too. And so the end result is that we actually got a new course outline written, Intro to Global Studies. It was written and submitted to the state. We were able to revise our Contemporary Global Issues course that got submitted to the state. And even the proposal for the new degree was written and submitted to the state. And we were able to hire a new part-time faculty who could champion the Global Studies course. So all this, I am truly, truly amazed that it happened in 1 year, because most of you know that curriculum takes about 18 months. So we were just like, oh, thank goodness. But it did take a lot of kind of finagling. So what are the next steps? We still need to wait to hear back from the state about approval of our courses and the degree. We need to get, this is FTEF, which stands for full-time equivalent faculty, to offer more global studies courses. In other words, that's the precious amount of load that you get to offer classes, how many classes you can offer. Okay? And then we definitely have to outreach to let students know about the program. My hope in Revitalizing, why Revitalize, is that by offering the degree that students see it as a pipeline, and that there will be more interest, and that by seeing there more interest, people even higher up will say, you know what, this is something worth dedicating resources to. So, but lessons learned is look for funding everywhere. Just be really creative about where that funding, what kind of funding you can use. It really helped me to have a thought partner to strategize whenever there were issues or challenges. It was always really nice to find someone else. Can I talk to you about these issues? And I am actually going to thank Tammy for that, because Tammy really was my thought partner. Tammy held one-on-one sessions with all of us and would ask us, hey, what's going on? What are some ways we can look at resolving issues and problems? So, thank you. And then, really some things just, you gotta go with the flow. Things are out of your control and you just can't. You just gotta go look the other way. So, that's it. All right.
Okay, next up we have Angela Yang from Saddleback College.
Okay, so before I talk about my project, I want to share a little bit about my personal story. So I was born in China, and I came to the US as an international student over 20 years ago. I know I don't look like it, okay? To pursue higher education. So I personally, as an adult learner, I experienced all kinds of difficulties, language, culture, systems, you name it. But even till this day, this experience I truly, truly appreciate, because I feel like that's the treasure in my life. And it greatly enriched my worldviews. And I hope the students on my campus can pursue the same experience like I did. So because I want to share my story, I strongly believe who I am impacts what I do. So this is why I choose this program. My project is to develop an intensive ESL program on my campus and incorporate different cultural elements into it to attract and meet different needs of language learners. As you know, ESL program is an institution's front door for many international students. It provides language support, cultural understanding to help this population be academically successful and be socially integrated. And more importantly, we all from community colleges, we know many of our domestic students don't have the luxury to study abroad. So these international students may provide a non-US centric perspective to help our local students and to understand different perspectives, to gain a to gain a global experience without studying abroad. So that's why I think the ESL program brings double missions to the campus, to the college, to the community college students. And money, budget. You know, without money, without resources, nothing happens. We all know. And being an administrator, I think one of our gifts is, you know, we need to navigate the system. We need to negotiate with administrators. We need to find ways to fund this program, to fund these programs. So, you know, we have the CEEP, HSI, and also ANAP, all this categorical funding. So I'm trying to align the ESL intensive program with this special category funding to make them understand most of ESL students are disproportionately impacted learners. We can use this funding to help them achieve their learning goals. And another thing is another funding resource comes from ASG, Student Government. So I work with the Director of Student Development Office and try to apply for the funding so we can do a lot of extracurricular activities. So while implementing this project, one thing I've learned, which is one of the most important skills that I believe leaders must possess. It's called self-reflection. Self-reflection is a critical habit that I understand I must possess, cultivate, embrace on a daily basis. Because self-reflection helps me to optimize my performance in this project. It helps me to become more intentional about who I am, whom I want to work with, and how I want to accomplish this project. My self-reflection has 4 stages. First, planning. Second, implementation. Third, collaboration. And last, looking for the future, expansion. The ESL project, the ESL program is just at the beginning. It opens doors for many other projects to take place to truly lead the campus internationalization process. So the first stage, planning, it takes 3 months. That's the stage where the communication takes place. So I started a conversation with ESL faculty member. I brought this idea to the key administrators, deans, VPs, to get their buy-ins. There are 2 important lessons I have learned at this stage. First, be patient. Go very slow in planning and communication, because then, which allows me to go faster later, in execution. Second lesson I've learned, don't hide behind the process, because I probably don't have a strong vision for this project in the beginning, and that's fine. I don't know who I want to invite to the working group, and that's fine. Just be transparent and authentic. People honors you being who you are, and people likes to help you. Just ask. And don't hide like I know everything, and just invite people to participate in the decision-making process. The second phase is implementation. So that's the stage that we started to form a working group. We started to develop a proposal. And then the next step is very, very important, is that I brought this proposal to different campus committee meetings, to different campus constituencies, because you all know this, we are all about what? Shared governance. We need people want to hear our project. People want to give us their feedback. We need to be open to receive everything. Again, there are 2 lessons I have learned in this stage. First, You all know there's no like magic wand. You all know this rule: communication. Always communicate. Try to grab every possible opportunity to present our project, because people want to know. No one likes surprise. Second takeaway I have learned is consensus doesn't work. Don't expect people to vote, to give me 100%, to agree with me everything we said. It's okay to, consensus doesn't work. But what works instead? Instead, try to build alignment. Try to help people understand what are our shared commitments, what are our shared values are, and then align this project with our shared values. That's even more important than consensus. Consensus go nowhere. The third stage is collaboration. My biggest challenge in collaboration is recruitment, because I realize, the leadership experience I have learned is I'm the intermediate person, because the faculty they just want to teach. They want me to do the coordination. I'm sorry. I know you also like to do a lot of stuff. And the leaders, the deans, the VPs, they like the programs to flourish, but they want me, the intermediate person, director level, the middle level leaders, to do the planning, to do the coordination. And which is fine. That's what I'm getting excited. So that's where the collaboration takes place. That's where the collaborative work, start to plant the seed. So I start to recruit students. I need to find enough people. I need to find the right students to fill these classes. So I went to the K-12 schools to promote the dual enrollment program. I went to church activities to reach out to the first generation immigrants. I worked with overseas partners to recruit international students from overseas. So that's where collaboration takes place. And in this stage, I learned a very important step is to lead an effective enrollment effort. I have to go out of my way. I have to take human-centric approach. I have to oblige with those prospective students and families. What does that mean? It means I have to hold hands of every student. I have to walk them through every step of enrollment registration process. I'm happy to report, till this day, we have 26 students are enrolled in this ESL intensive program. And in 2 weeks, 3 ESL intensive courses will take place on my campus. Yeah. So last stage is expanding. As I said, my ESL, this project is not about designing curriculum. It's about, planting the seed. It's about opening doors for the whole internationalization effort take place. So now I'm working with our Spanish faculty member to open Spanish civilization, cultural classes at K-12 schools for dual enrollment. I'm working with our department to host a contemporary Chinese photography exhibition on our campus next semester. I'm working with Japanese faculty member to recruit students from Japan, bring them here for a gap year short-term study abroad program. We also launched a student club called AAUDAB, a chapter on my campus. It's for American Association for University Women. So we particularly promote for first generation women of color, low income. And in 2 weeks, I will lead 5 female students to DC to attend a national conference. They receive full scholarship from the national organization and also funded by our by our student government. So these are all like low income, first generation students from different countries. So these are all the ESL taking us to many new territories. So Yeah, the next, like, these are all the emails. I'm not going through the details, so just want to let you know we have these artifacts, evidence, document all the conversations, emails that we have with ESL faculty member and the key administrators to move forward with this project. Just very quick, this is our AAUW student panel. One of the speakers is our ESL international students. This is her first time to speak on a student panel. Her story, her personal experiences blow away many local students in the audience. Another event is last week, we hosted a workshop, business entrepreneur workshop for first-generation low-income immigrants. Over 150 participants from the local community attended. It was a sold-out event, and many participants, these immigrants, expressed their interest in taking our ESL classes. The last one is a UCLA event. It's going to happen next Friday, and I will go there, and I also extended invitation and invite them to my campus. What I said to this scholar is, this is not just a phenomenon at four-year research Division I in research-intensive universities. We at two-year community colleges, we also need this kind of scholarly discussion. Please come to our campus. Please share this, this knowledge with our students. So that's going to happen. This seminar will take place next semester on my campus, not just the UCLA. So I think that's all my project. What I have learned from this leadership experience, I say this one-year program is phenomenal. I'm so grateful for Tammy's mentorship, for Kate. Just one story, 2 weeks ago, I applied for a position in my district. Kate even wrote a recommendation. Thank you so much. It really, this program not only helped me learn professional, but also helped me personally stretched a lot. Thank you very much.
Okay, we are just going to keep going here. Next up is Adam Wetsman from Hondo College.
Got it going. All right, this is me. Hello, Adam Wetsman. I am the Dean of the Behavioral and Social Sciences at Hondo College. I became the Dean a couple of years ago after being faculty in anthropology, the discipline underlying all others, for 20 years. And in fact, we've heard a lot about these weird psychologists. Well, that term is actually coined by an anthropologist who I went to school with. So my project was to help assist faculty with globalizing curriculum, something that all of you mostly did. So let me tell you a little bit about Hondo and a little bit about our division. So Hondo is in Whittier, California, about 15 miles east of Los Angeles. We have about 20,000 students, about 12,000 FTEs, or that's what we used to have. And it is a majority Latinx community. Our division has about 12 different disciplines, about 700 sections a year. You can see that we account for something like 20% of all the FTEs, and there are 100 faculty in the division, about 25 of whom are full-time and the rest are part-time. So the plan was to get faculty to integrate more culturally relevant / global information into their courses. Come on, here we go. So here's the plan in order for that to happen. Now, let me start by telling you where Hondo was before this happened. So as is the case at many community colleges, there are professional development opportunities. But the problem with professional development opportunities is it's the same darn people over and over doing this. So we can have different kinds of opportunities, which we did have to some extent, but only a small percentage of faculty actually take those opportunities, and so you're only getting a small portion of the faculty to do this. So what I wanted to do is to at least integrate this or introduce this to the Behavioral and Social Sciences division. And so the first thing that I did was I actually had our professional development day, a time devoted to talking about this. And I got a couple of faculty to talk about how they do it. I had one faculty talk about how he has global perspectives in his philosophy course. I had another instructor talk about how she has assignments that integrate global concepts. And I had another instructor who talked about using global/culturally relevant information in their examples. And in some areas, it's very easy. Like in cultural anthropology, all you're doing is talking about global ideas, culturally relevant curriculum. But in other areas, it's a little bit more challenging. Actually, I'll use another example in anthropology. Physical anthropology, I had somebody ask me, well, how do you teach all this stuff when you're talking about primates and DNA and human origins? And I said, well, you don't just have to talk about Jane Goodall, the famous primatologist. You can talk about other people who do primate research that are a little bit more diverse than Jane Goodall. He said, okay, that's a good idea. So in order to do this, I needed to provide resources for the faculty, and as many of you did, I relied upon Canvas. And we have a dedicated website or a dedicated Canvas shell for our division, and part of that, we have developed equity-minded best practices, and within this area, we have given a bunch of suggestions. And I don't have time to go through them all, but they're pretty much the same kinds of ideas that I just talked about when we talked about on our professional development day. So we gave some resources, and we gave some examples of how to do that. So that's where we provided the resources for the faculty. So how do we get the faculty to do this? Well, the challenge is that you have to somehow connect with the faculty, and the way that we did it was through the evaluation process. So I know evaluation processes vary somewhat between one community college and the other. For example, at Rio Hondo, full-time tenured faculty are not evaluated by an administrator. It's just peer review every 3 years. However, part-time faculty are evaluated once every 3 terms. And so I said, okay, well, at least I can get at the part-time faculty, and I actually developed a quiz, an assignment in Canvas as part of the evaluation process. And it just essentially asked them a bunch of questions, and one of the sets of questions related to integrating culturally relevant / global material into their courses. So you can't see this here, but if you ever look at the slide deck, you can. So what I did was I essentially copied what we had in the information section and said, how do you do that? Check off the examples. And then after that, I had do you have anything else to add? Well, the challenge is that faculty checked off a few boxes, said, no, I have nothing to add, and went on. So lesson learned, okay, that was the fall. In the spring semester, I changed things up a little bit, essentially asked the same things, but now had open-ended prompts. Please provide an example of X, okay? So how did that turn out? Well, the results were somewhat mixed. We had some people who wrote lots and lots of stuff, and they gave all kinds of examples, and then we had others who wrote, just a little bit. And I would give feedback. So this is my feedback here, a couple of different examples of my feedback. So I would say, hey, you did a great job here. Or if somebody didn't do such a great job, like in this one, I said, you really didn't address the information in the prompt. So at least it gets people to start thinking about things a little bit and doing it a little bit more, hopefully next time. So what are the future plans? Well, this is great for the social sciences area, but what about the entire college? Well, one of the things that I have suggested in conjunction with others who have talked about this area of badging. So lots of colleges do this kind of thing. There's badges for all kinds of stuff. You're an undocu ally or LGBTQ plus ally or things like that. I said, well, let's have a badge for integrating culturally relevant / global material into your courses. So this is in the developmental stages, but this would allow us to at least give an incentive for people to look into this in the future. Now, one little epilogue. So a year or so ago, I was given the opportunity to actually teach a course. One of the things is when you become a dean, you can't teach at your college, and I like teaching. It's great to stay relevant in the field, and it's great to interact with students. So what course did I start teaching? Introduction to Physical Anthropology. And guess what? I didn't integrate any culturally relevant material. So I said, my goodness, I need to practice what I preach. And so before I actually taught the course again, for the first time in several years, I integrated some stuff. So for example, I think I got this from one of the sessions that we had here. There's this website called the Scientist Spotlight Initiative. I think we learned about it here. And so what I have students do is I essentially say, hey, look, you hear about all these white European guys who have provided all kinds of theory. How about you guys going out, students going out and finding information on people who are doing research today in these related fields? So go and find somebody, tell me what you learned about them, and tell me why they're relevant to you. Okay, so that is one of the things that I did. Another thing that I did was I actually had students reflect on this. I said, look, you know, the challenge with physical anthropology is that we're talking about a lot of things that are kind of hard sciences, and there's not a lot of opportunities for inclusivity besides some of the things that we've done. What do you think about this? Do you think that the level is okay? Not okay? Do you have any other suggestions? So this was feedback that I got for doing this. So I see that I have a 2-minute warning, which is perfect because I'm almost done. I had one more thought on an epilogue, and this kind of developed as I was hearing all these things today, is it would really be great if we can take all of our collective wisdom, instead of me having to reinvent these assignments, or somebody in history to reinvent assignments, or even in things like economics. The information we got, Juliana, about how people save and collect money from around the world. Wow, that's anthropology. Everything is anthropology. It would be great if we can have some kind of common resource so an instructor doesn't have to reinvent the wheel, doesn't have to figure out how to do it all by themselves, but can pull stuff from these resources, from all the collective wisdom from people here and elsewhere, and then just use it in their courses. So I thank you all. I'm under time. I get an extra prize, I think an extra cookie or something like that. Have a good day.
Okay, to take us home, we have Michael Odu from San Diego Miramar College.
Okay, yes. Earlier on, I yielded 1 minute 45 seconds to the featured speaker. I yielded 1 minute 50 seconds to Elisa. And I yielded 2 minutes 25 seconds to Tom. That means 6 minutes, so I have 4 minutes for my presentation. Okay, let's roll. Thank you, 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 thank you. Okay, so my name is Michael Odu, Miramar College. So I came here last year full of energy. I am going to change the world. I am going to start my own college. You know, that is, if I cannot bring international education to Miramar, why don't you start your own college? Well, forget about it. It's not happening anytime soon. Because, you know, everything everyone I've said today really on target. If I have my way, I will start my own college and hire every one of you. No, really, that is just the reality of it. So Miramar College is one of 4 colleges in the San Diego Community College District. Now, you cannot just start a program without money. And in a multi-district college, funding becomes an issue. So there is no way anyone can start a program without the district being part of it. So basically, my dream was kind of shut down. Nevertheless, I learned a lot as to why was it so slow for Miramar College in the district to be able to move ahead with this international education concept. Anybody remember 9/11? Yeah. One of those pilots took their lessons at Miramar College. So each time you hear anything about international education, oh, wow. And people never told me this when I started this journey. I met with faculty that were interested. You know, we have this faculty interest group. They were pushing this effort when I came on board. So nevertheless, it slowed us down. So working on one more thing that slowed us down, one of my biggest champions was my chancellor, because he was all into this. Guess what? is step down. Yeah, step down. So, I have to just go back to the drawing board. And it was kind of devastating because December, I was meeting with Tammy. Thank you so much for keeping me on. I said, Tammy, how much have you folks spent on me? I am willing to give you that money because I cannot go on with this. Really, that's how bad it was. And she said, no, Michael, this is all about the leadership journey. That's what it is. So I stayed on, and I was able to get some things done. So working with my faculty group, we found a way. Say, okay, if you want to bring international education to Miramar, the first thing you want to do is work with the district office. Then we come up with a vision. So here is the vision for international education at the San Diego Community College District, not just Miramar College. The vision is to increase the international education opportunities for students throughout the San Diego Community College District. And here are the goals. Internationalizing and promoting global awareness at Miramar College, that is for my college. Provide and promote equitable. Equitable is the key, yeah? Because we know about our community college students. Study abroad opportunities through Miramar College. Support our international students at Miramar with programming and networking. Promote opportunities for educators, classified professionals, custodian workers, every one of them. I call them educators, so we're not going to deny them that opportunity to engage and teach in experiences abroad. And finally, engage with international institutions and organizations of higher ed through programs for students and campus employees. So, what are the short-term plans? And I was able to accomplish all this through my office, like Debbie was saying. We do have some pots of money, so if you cannot help us from the district office to get things done, then why don't you do things on your own? So through my office at Miramar College, we brought this to life this semester. We established a viable study abroad program. As the VP, I can assign things to my deans. Oh, yes, under the Dean of Liberal Arts. We created a structure in the office, in my office of the Vice President of Instruction, to celebrate International Education Week. We created a structure in my office to facilitate participation in the Fulbright program. And working with a faculty professional development coordinator, we promoted the scholarship of teaching and learning from a global perspective by offering professional development in internationalizing the curriculum. Now, long-term goals. So we did that at Miramar. Long-term goals now involve the district. So as a district, working with the Vice Chancellor of Educational Services, my new champion, so this is what we're planning to do. We're going to design a comprehensive international education program based on the following foundations: study abroad and global partnerships, internationalizing of the curriculum, international and global events and activities, enhancement of international student support. So this is the ultimate goal. So with this, across the district, with the new chancellor we'll get sometime next year, if we can just make sure we get this, I think we're going to be in a good shape. One lesson I learned, to bring something like this to life in a college, it's much easier if it is part of your vision and your strategic goals, not necessarily your mission. So we are working to see if we can get this into one of the strategic goals before the new chancellor comes on board. So that is the goal. Now, finally, words do matter. Here you see a lot of international. The reason, the faculty interest group I was working with, they worked for free. They are this group. And their group was all about international education. They were not willing to change that name. So for now, I'm working with them, right? So we're going to keep the name, but the ultimate goal is to make this like a global studies. So that is the goal. Okay, and I think I am done. 4 minutes, I told you folks.
We are so glad that Michael stayed with the program, right? Okay. Kristen, do we have just a few minutes for questions? Just a few? Okay. All right, we'll open the floor for questions.
So this is for Debbie. We don't have a global studies program, but we have a political science program for AAT, and we offer international relations. We offer comparative politics. We even offer international political economy. The problem is, though, even though it's an AAT degree, the transferring schools may not accept all the courses. However, when the student decides to individually petition the courses, they accept them. So I would add a fifth to your list of 4, informing the student. In some cases, they may have to petition their courses to be accepted in the Global Studies program or in the Political Science program. Because that's one of the ongoing problems that all the community colleges have. Even though we offer the courses, their individual departments may or may not accept them.
Yeah. Thanks for that heads up. I know that I did have students who asked for substitutions, so definitely.
My question's for Angela, or maybe, I don't know if it's a question or statement, but you were talking about the ESL students and how they are a really great resource for students who are not able to study abroad so that they can learn about these new cultures. I'm wondering if you've thought about maybe partnering them like as conversational partners with students from different courses and how that could be something really important.
We have the peer mentorship program, and we try to partner like one ESL student with a local student. And we had that robust program before COVID. Now we are just revitalize the program after the COVID. Yes. And we also want to extend to partner a faculty member. We also have faculty color, and try to maybe they can be a mentor to this immigrant students, international student, or student of color. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a great thing to do. We called it first friend. So I was like, the first friend that you ever get when you travel. The other thing I did with the PISA Studies program, and I'm kind of like gradually doing this also with global studies, and that is, money is always the issue. It doesn't need to be. I did with my PISA Studies, I did foundation, and my friends, they were like more than glad to support me with those things. So we had like foundation that the funds would be deposited there, and for scholarships and things like that they're going to give me a hard time. I'm like, okay, well, I have the foundation, I'm going to use it. So if you have people that they like what you're doing, foundation actually could be a good source, not necessarily from the community college coming.
Foundation funds are great.
Exactly.
Because they almost have no limitation on how you can spend them.
And the way you want to spend them.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just have a short question. Lately, I found myself teaching a lot of dual enrollment classes with students as young as 16, questioning some of the content of my curriculum because it is mature audience, typically defined as over 18. Why is the trend of dual enrollment growing in community college? That's just my own personal, I'm sure maybe some of us already know, but
Okay, you go.
Many reasons. No, the number one reason in California, enrollment. Yeah. Enrollment is down, so money, number one. Number two, there's a new requirement of ethnic studies for graduation in high school. So a lot of high schools do not have the funds to hire full-time high school instructors. So they are using CCAP or the college instructors to help them with that.
Yeah. I can also piggyback. I recently attended a conference in San Diego called CACRO, the incoming state chancellor for the whole state California. She mentioned her vision, 2 goals. Number one is they are planning to have actually create a course in California community college system, actually prepare 8th grade 8th grade, when they entering high school student, they will be prepared to take college classes, we call dual enrollment. The second, I think they also have a goal by 2030, I believe, if I recall correctly, is 75% of high school graduates will take at least 12 units of college courses. College level courses, credit. It can be CTE classes, it can be GE classes.
I'm going to pipe in. So you could say it's, on the one hand, take a very capitalistic view of it and say it's for enrollment. But I'm going to take the other side, which is that several years ago, there was a law passed, AB 288, which was for high school dual enrollment. The idea was that that law was passed to offer high school students the opportunity to take college classes. The idea being that if they were exposed to it and they understood, hey, you know what, this is a class that I could do, it would encourage students to continue on with college. And the intent of the law was to actually serve students who historically were not going off to college. And that these classes, because they were taking them in high school, they wouldn't get charged for them. Now, without a doubt, there are some, issues such as the one that you're bringing up, including others like FERPA violations, et cetera. But, I do tell my faculty that, hey, you do have to let students know that this is a college course. So yes, I once had an art history teacher ask, or, a history teacher asked me, hey, can I show Robert Mapplethorpe in my class? I have 14-year-olds, and, well, it is a college class, and parents need to be aware that it is a college class. So they do, in my area, most of the classes that students are taking are the world languages because they don't offer all the languages at the high school. But yes, it is definitely a tricky issue, but I will say it's, again, not just the capitalistic view, but that it's an opportunity for students who have not historically felt like they were college students, and to give them the chance.
I can also add one point is just, I think the research data also shows that students at high school stage, if they take college classes, actually they are better prepared for college success. Yeah, and I think across the stage, this is a phenomenon, this is a movement. They have, I think the current trend shows like double-digit growth for dual enrollment high school student.
So I guess I have the microphone next. First of all, thank you for your presentations. I believe this is the inaugural, cohort for administrators, because traditionally this has been dominated, of course, by faculty. So we're grateful that you're here. For those of us, again, at the faculty ranks, and we clearly want to internationalize our curriculum, we want to implement all of these wonderful programs. What are some advice that you can give to us as in your role as administrators if we don't have, let's say, an administrator or administrators who are not willing to move this program forward, right? How can we effectively advocate for us to do these wonderful things that Stanford is providing us today? Thank you.
I would say, focus on one of those high impact practices, talks about diversity and global studies. I think use that as a leverage. Absolutely, because that is the current language of diversity, equity, inclusion. If you use that as a leverage, at least, again, I'm on board, and I see there's no reason folks should not be on board. But if you have any administrator that is not on board, use that as a leverage. Yeah, the studies are out there, those high impact practices, at least you can leverage one of those.
I can also speak from my perspective, and I think the ESL department chair, and I'm so happy that she reached out to me because the deans, are so busy, and the VPI, they're all busy with those big projects. But she reached me at, I'm a director of international student program. You need to find middle-level administrators who can take hands-on, projects and form a working group. Then I can advocate for her. I can reach out to the dean, and because I have the understanding of funding, how it works, how to collaborate with administrators. So I actually take part of the faculty job position to help her be her allies.
You can also go through the academic senate and your professional development committees as well.
Okay. Okay. All right. That concludes our question and answer session. If you have more questions, I'm sure that these lovely people here can answer more and can have some conversation after. So thank you again for your presentations.